All right, welcome everyone to the Board of Commissioners of Spalding County's regular meeting for June 2nd, 2014. We'll start off with the invocation, which I will give, and then Commissioner Ray will lead us in the pledge to the flag. So if you would please rise. And I would like everybody to please especially remember the family of Officer Jordan that was murdered this weekend. Him and his family, please keep him in your prayers. Okay, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just praise you and thank you so much for your love and for your guidance and for being with us every day. Lord, we lift up a special prayer for Officer Jordan's family, Lord, that you would just be with them, comfort them, dear Lord God, and let them know that you are in control even during difficult times. Heavenly Father, we pray that you would be with our community as we move through this. Lord, we pray for all of our law enforcement personnel that you would watch over and protect them, Lord, keep them safe and be with their families. Lord, guide and direct us tonight in this meeting of the Board of Commissioners. I pray that you would grant us the wisdom that we need for making the decisions to serve the citizens of this community. Guide and direct us in all that we do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda tonight is presentations and proclamations. I have a proclamation that I will read designating Saturday, June 14, 2014 is Willie Mule Train Lewis Volunteer Day in Spalding County. And I'll read it. Proclamation, Willie Mule Train Lewis Volunteer Day. Whereas in celebration of an extraordinary individual who through his exemplary service and dedication contributed his time and talents to recreational community programs, and whereas through his love and passion for the football, he mentored and provided financial support for the recreation football program for over 35 years, Mr. Lewis was always there to help the children, including those who just could not quite get there on their own. And whereas Mr. Lewis has been a big part of the Spalding County Community Recreational Program since the 1960s when he attended school at Fairmont High School and served as a lifeguard at the Griffin Youth Center, where he also gave swimming lessons. And whereas Mr. Lewis has effected change in recreation programs through volunteering his time, resources, and skills to resolving problems that impact the way programs operate as well as the program outcomes. And whereas Mr. Lewis has always believed that individuals and communities are the center of social change and that God used him to reach others to make their lives better. And whereas the late Willie Mule Train Lewis was born on February 20th, 1950 to Walter and Mary Lewis Miller, Mr. Lewis was encouraged by and learned of service to others from his parents and the late Emmett and Annie Bankston. He exhibited this service to others until his death on July 8, 2008. And whereas, as a Spalding County Fire Department employee, Mr. Lewis understood and accepted support from the county as they showed appreciation for his volunteering and outside activities during his career with the department as a firefighter through his last position as fire marshal. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Spalding County that a copy of this proclamation recognizing Willie Mule Train Lewis's contributions to Spalding County and commemorating the contributions made through volunteering and service to others be spread upon the minutes of the proceedings of this board, and that the Board of Commissioners does hereby urge its citizenry to convey their appreciation for the dedication and contributions made by Willie Mule Train Lewis to the recreation programs in Spalding County. And that on this second day of June 2014, we do hereby declare Saturday, June 14th, 2014, as Willie Mule Train Lewis Volunteer Day. Signed by Samuel C. Gardner, Chairman, William P. Wilson, Jr., County Manager.
Mr. Chair, move to accept the proclamation as read.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ray, second by Commissioner Flowers Taylor to approve the proclamation. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. All right, I think we have a few people here that might want to come up with the acceptance of the proclamation if they come right over here. on up. Don't be shy. Don't make the fire chief come out here.
Well,
Don't make the fire chief come out.
put them right there.
Come right here.
Yeah, so we can get them better.
We get them right here in the center.
Y'all say that.
No, you don't have to move. I will move, but ladies don't have to.
Appreciate all y'all. All right, y'all bunch in, or y'all with the cameras, tell us what we need to do.
Get closer.
All right, can y'all see everybody?
Okay, I see Mr. Spears.
Can't see Mr. Field. Okay, I guess I have to cheat then. No, that's blocking. No, that's okay.
Get the Spalding County seal.
I guess I'll let this get this.
All right, I'm gonna say something else, and y'all don't consider this any kind of disrespect or anything, but y'all know I was real close to Mule Train, okay? Mule Train and I always talked about when we retired, we was gonna go to the beach and we was gonna open up a bar and a tiki
Y'all like to say something?
Y'all wanna say anything? Nobody wanna speak up? You sure?
We're gonna take this proclamation, get it framed for you, and have it ready for your day on the 14th.
Did you wanna say something, Don?
Yes, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Driver. I'm presently the presiding president of South Atlanta Youth Association. And I would just like to thank you guys, the Board of Commissioners of Spalding County, and especially Chief Gardner and Mr. Wilson and all of you guys that help and that know Mule Train, because truly, if we look at volunteering, Mule Train was one that volunteered. And we invited his family here to show that how much love that we had for him, because he impacted a lot of our lives in the way that he did things. Chief Gardner know he would get out from work to go coach a game. He would borrow money from other firefighters just to pay for a kid to play football at the park. And so that's the spirit that we want to leave with you guys today. That the spirit of volunteerism, giving your time up for somebody else's who time can't be explained, but we can give our time up to these kids. Thank you, and I hope you guys support South Atlanta Youth Association this fall when you vote for us to become the new football program.
All right, now we come to presentations of financial statements. Consider approval of financial statements for the 10-month period ended April 30, 2014. Ms. Garrison.
I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. This is still a printout from the computer, the CSI computer system. We'll be looking for a software to put this in that's in a better readable format for you in the coming months.
Any questions from any board members? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move that we approve the financial statement for the 10-month period ending April 30th, 2014.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Miles Taylor, second by Commissioner Miller for approval. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand. 5-0. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have citizen comments. Speakers must sign up prior to the meeting and provide their names, addresses, and topic in which they speak on. Speakers must direct all comments to the board only. Speakers will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics that relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizen comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. First person signed up is Candace Williams.
Good evening. I'm here to speak on,
I'm sorry, please give us your name and
Okay.
address also for the record on the recording.
oh, okay. Candace Williams, address 1457 D.F. Fuller Drive, Griffin, 30224.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, I'm here to speak on the old business for reunited counseling. We are, we have an after-school program that we're serving kids in Fairmont. And initially, we asked for help from you guys in October, November of last year. In February, we started at Kelsey because I asked my principal if we could use the facilities. He said yes. We wanted to move on through the summer. This process has been dragging on and on and on. And I feel like there was some interference ran by William Wilson that caused us some issues with the Spalding County Board of Education. I felt like we were being forced into a contract that we didn't really want. We only want City Park. And we were fine until some interference occurred. So I just want to express my displeasure with how this whole process has gone. The fact that it took so long, the problems that were created by the board, I feel by the board, that caused us to possibly not even be able to have a summer program and serve the kids at Fairmont. I was told and assured by Kelly that you guys just wanted to make sure we serve the kids at Fairmont. We had no intention of leaving that area. We were gonna work at Kelsey, but we didn't see a need. It was not, it just didn't make sense economically to rent Fairmont if we had Kelsey. So I just wanted to express to you, the problems that were created in the past 2 or 3 weeks, I thought were uncalled for. A little disheartening because everybody says they're here for the kids, and it just didn't seem that way on this side. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Pamela Askin.
I didn't want to speak.
Oh, you didn't want to speak? Okay, thank you. What about Teresa Askin? Okay, thank you. Demetra West.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Name and address, please,
My
ma'am.
name is Demetra Woods. My address is 763 East Broadway, Griffin, Georgia, 30223. And I'm one of the parents that my kid go to the after school program with Miss Candice. And I think that would be a good program for the kids throughout the summer, along with they furnishing the food, because if they don't have a program for the kids for the summer, they'll just be running around, get hit by a car. So if they have a couple of times, a couple of hours in a summer program, that'll keep them out of a whole lot of trouble. That's all I gotta say.
Thanks, ma'am. Jay Ramos. Okay. Mr. Anthony Ramos.
Good afternoon. I'm Anthony Ramos, and right now we're running the program at AZ Kelsey.
Address to you.
Address is 12219 Bryan Court, Fayetteville, Georgia.
Thanks, sir, okay.
We started this process in November of trying to organize and set up an after-school program and summer camp for the kids in the Fairmont community and also Spalding County. The process took so long that we moved forward and got permission from the principal over at AZ Kelsey to have the program. Since then, we right now have about 75 kids that are participating in the after-school program. And probably in the summer, we probably will have 150 kids from the Fairmont community. Now, we also service kids not only in Fairmont, but all over Spalding County. We were in the process of trying to get everything done for City Park, which is another location which I felt would be a good look as far as servicing kids on the other side of town, because kids from City Park are not gonna be able to walk, in which the majority of our kids don't have transportation. The only thing we're trying to do, and the only thing we try to do, is come to Spalding County and try to provide services for kids that were not here. And it has been a real dogfight trying to get this put together. And I'm not really understanding, because I have a camp in Macon, also have one in Atlanta. I have not experienced this type of resistance anywhere else that we have located. And I'm not really sure, is this thing about the kids, low-income kids, kids that need the services, kids that we can change their lives, or is this about something else? Because it's not really making very much sense to me. We're coming to Spalding County providing after-school and summer camps for kids that don't have the money to pay for this, okay? So if they don't have the money, what are they gonna do? They're gonna be in the streets. And if we were, my son and myself, if we were to get discouraged and pull up out of Spalding County, what is the county's, what options do they have other than what we have? And that is a concern. That's why we're still here now. Because at the end of the day, it's about the kids. And we providing services that the county ran out of money 4 years ago. We're having to pay for the location for vacant gymnasiums that nothing is going on in those gymnasiums. I pay all of my staff. I buy all of their snacks. I just wanted the only thing I wanted was some help from the county to bring in a program that they're not able to provide for the kids. And my question is, if we don't do it, who is gonna do it? And these kids are gonna be the ones missing out, not the county. The county is not gonna miss out on anything. I mean, I could pack my bags up and take this program anywhere in the state and provide services for these kids, but I saw a need here in Spalding County because of the high crime rate, things that we had observed in the newspaper and on the news. So I said this would be perfect because they don't have anything like that. So I'm real confused, and I really don't understand what's going on here in Spalding County, but we have these services that we're willing to provide for these kids, and I just wish it wouldn't be so much resistance. I really do. Because if you can come and tell me, well, we got this, and we got this, and we don't have you guys, we got this, which in 4 years they haven't. So I'm not understanding what's really going on here in Spalding County, and that's why I'm concerned. I know we were here tonight to find out if we're going to get approved for City Park, but with the resistance and the things that we've been going through, I question, are we really concerned about the kids? And that's all I need to say.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Item 7, minutes. Consider approval of the minutes for the May 19th, 2014 extraordinary session and the May 22nd, 2014 zoning public hearing.
Mr. Chair, move the minutes be approved as identified.
Second.
Have a motion for approval by Commissioner Ray, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In the minutes from the general session, there's a...
Is that the May 19th?
Yeah. Extraordinary session. I'm related to the contract for transportation. The statement, is that correct? Mr. Wilson advised this is right before the transportation program service agreement. Mr. Wilson advised that the city of Griffin and Paragon have signed the contract and it is ready for consideration by the board. So,
The city had approved it the week before.
okay. All right, that's what I needed to know.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Thank you. Consent agenda. Let's see. We take each one of these separately.
No, so we can do them all at one time.
Unless somebody wants one broken out, acted on.
Do y'all want to take them all together, or?
Take
All right.
Well,
Yeah, that's
I move to approve the consent agenda, which consists of item 1, consider approval of second reading, application 1305 Zulu, Paul Thomas Jr. and Joy Addis, owners, 1781 Carver Road, 59.121 acres, located in land lot 87 of the second land district, requesting a rezoning from R1 single family residential low density to AR1 agricultural and residential. Item 2, consider approval of second reading application 1305 AZ. Paul Thomas Jr. and Joyce Addis, owners, 1833 Carver Road, 3.061 acres, located in land lot 87 of the second land district, requesting rezoning from R1 single family residential low density to AR1 agricultural and residential. Item 3, consider approval of second reading, application 1305 BZ, Paul T. Addis Jr., owner, Carver Road, 42.237 acres, located in land lot 87 of the second land district, requesting rezoning from R1 single family resident low density to AR1 agricultural and residential.
Second.
have a motion for approval of the consent agenda, all three items by Commissioner Ray and second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Old business, item 1, reconsider approval of a revised contract with Reunited Training and Counseling Incorporated and Good Samaritan Community Development Group Incorporated.
Mr. Chairman, the amended contract was for 2 locations there. Right now, Mr. Ramos's group would only like to provide the location at City Park, not at Ambucks, and he is on the Board of Education agenda, I've been told, for Tuesday night to finalize his agreement for AZ Kelsey. They have submitted their certificate of insurance. It is approved. The only final thing remaining is the background checks that Park and Recreation has to do on his employees, and we just talked a while ago, and he's going to send that to Kelly tomorrow. Other than that, I think that covers everything that we've asked in the past couple of meetings.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
We have a motion for approval by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 4. Those opposed? 1. And just for informational purposes, Mr. Wilson was not the stumbling block. Mr. Wilson was carrying out his regulars from questions from members of this board. Okay, thank you. Let's see, new business, item 1 has been,
Yes, sir. The applicant has asked that this be withdrawn. They will bring it back up in July. So we can just dispense with item 1.
Item 2, consider a request from Oak Hill Baptist Church for an application permit on June 29, 2014, at 6 o'clock p.m. and 10 o'clock p.m. for their annual Freedom Festival and fireworks to be held at 100 Lakeside Road, Williamson, Georgia.
Mr. Chairman, it has been through the review process, and community development, everyone involved recommends approval for their annual event.
So
And it, just want to make sure everyone knows it does include a fireworks display.
Yes, and the time is till 10 p.m.
There's a motion for approval by Commissioner Ray,
Second.
second by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? All those in favor, oh, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What kind of fire protection are they gonna have someone there, or do you need
They
help?
have to get a permit from probate court in order to have fireworks, which involves fire department inspection and everything. Their plan has to be approved by the fire department before she will issue a fireworks permit.
I think last year there was a fire truck out there. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Item 3, consider request from Henry Warren for an application permit for an annual horse riding event at 680 South McDonald Road on Saturday, June 21st, 2014, from 9 a.m. until 11 p.m.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mr. Warren's annual event that's held, I believe, directly across from Roberts Station on McDonald Road. It was recommended for approval from community development.
Make a motion for approval of, request from Henry Warren for amplifier permit for an annual horse riding event at 680 South McDonald Road, event on Saturday, June 21st, 2014, from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Second.
Have a motion for approval by Commissioner Miller, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion?
That location's fairly far from any other homes and off the road, so.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Item 4, consider recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission to allow construction of a disc golf course at Wynum Matthias Olympic Park.
Mr. Chairman, the Park and Rec Advisory Board, and I believe several of the county commissioners were contacted by a gentleman who has a disc golf association and who wants to place one of these at Wyoming Matthias Park. Park and Rec Advisory Commission met several times. This gentleman made presentations, and they are recommending that the board proceed with allowing this disc golf course to be installed at Wyoming Matthias Park. Representatives from Park and Rec and from the disc golf group are here if you have any questions.
Are they gonna have to have any extra employees for this now?
No.
Won't be any?
It's a standalone.
When is it?
Mr. Edberger, will you come up and address the board?
Yeah. Throw the frisbee into the net.
Well, I know that, but this-
Mr. Fortune doesn't know what disc golf is.
I know what disc golf is, so.
It'll be a self-serve type situation. We'll provide the facilities that they're going to purchase, and no, sir, no employees will be needed.
when is it played?
Whenever.
Year-round?
Year-round.
How much
During regular
addition
hours.
is that gonna cost up at Tyus Park with baseball, soccer and stuff going on up there?
I don't think it will cause much. The hours are basically daylight, so they'll be there when the facility is open. The first hole and the 9th hole will be there at the pavilion area. We already have extra parking that we use in the grass area in case there's a tournament. They would probably host tournaments, but we would plan those around existing tournaments.
Be playing around baseball and soccer?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Rita.
I just want to know the figures, $18,000 as far as the revenues. Now, is that per tournament, or is that just all together, or what is
That refers to the cost of, that they'll be raising for
Okay.
us to actually install the course. And they're gonna do that on their own. We'll do the installation, they'll raise the funds for everything that's needed. Through sponsors
Okay.
throughout the community to build the course.
Which we already have about half of already.
So the course is gonna be in the wooded area where the nature trail is?
Some of it will be, it'll be a combination of in grassy areas and wooded areas and next to walking trails. It'll actually be using existing area that we already have. Yes, ma'am.
So no trees will be cut down, no new paths made, I mean,
Well, there'll be some trees that will need to be cut down, but it's not the same as a golf course. They actually want obstacles They want things to go around as part of the skill level of the game. So there'll be very minimum of that. A lot of areas are already cleared and already being maintained by ourselves as far as like turf and that kind of thing.
Liability is of course not an issue. I'd hate for a frisbee to hit a car and have to call their insurance company.
Just so a State Farm would do it.
State Farm.
We would hate for that to happen.
What is gonna be the cost to us?
Actually, there'll be no cost. They're gonna raise all the funds. We will assist with some of the work, but it will be done completely on our schedule, on our time frame. They are also going to assist with the work, with work days, both with construction and maintaining it throughout the years. So there'll be no physical cost to the county.
Okay, so if I wanted to just play disc golf, I'd come out there and they would be there and I could.
The
get my-
courses will be there, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And they're also going to commit to doing some practice baskets at other facilities throughout the county to generate interest so that people know that the course is there and that we'll be able to provide some services at other parks at their cost.
Okay.
You just bring your frisbee.
I've looked through the information provided and did a little more internet research on it, and there apparently is a very strong growing demand for being able to participate in this sport.
Yeah, this thing came up about 10, 12 years when I was
So
working
it's
at Park.
becoming very,
It was-
very
It was
promising.
starting back then.
No cost to us, so, I mean, I think it's.
I just worry about the congestion at Tice Park, that was one of my things. I mean, it is a congested place to start with. When you
Yes.
got soccer tournaments going on, or soccer, and you got baseball, you know, I just don't,
They got one at McCurry Park in Fayetteville that coexists with all these events that they're having up there.
they don't have Highway 92 and all the congestion we got up there with the Walmart either. That McCurry Park is way out south from everything else.
Commissioner Flowers, Taylor?
What made that location better than, say, Dundee Lake Park that's fairly wooded?
I think the access and the size, what we're gonna try to do here is actually build a championship course so that we can attract basically tournaments throughout the country. So it's just the size and the acreage that was available. And then also you just have a lot more diversity at Tice Park. We do have water, we have a lot of stuff that's already there as far as the course is already being constructed. As far as you have turf areas, you have the wooded areas, there's a lot of hills. It's just a better location for it.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, move to approve the recommendation from Parks and Rec Advisory Commission to allow construction of a disc golf course at Wyoming House Olympic Park.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Ray for approval, second by Commissioner Miller. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Consider adoption of the fiscal year 2015 fee schedule as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Mr. Chairman, these fees were incorporated in the fiscal year 2015 budget. I think each event went up about $5, Kelly,
That's correct.
roughly. And after much discussion, Park and Rec Advisory Board did vote to send them to you all.
Mr. Chair, approve to move the adoption of the FY 2015 fee schedule as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Have a motion for approval by Commissioner Ray and a second by Commissioner Flowers Taylor. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Kelly, what was the cost of playing football per child last year?
For tackle, it was $100. We've gone over our figures as to what it costs because we understand that we've been asked to charge fees that recoup all the fees that our programs cost. So we took a real close look at football. We knew that we were undercharging. We were supplementing the fee. And so we arrived at the figure of $150 per player. What we're asking also with this fee schedule is that for this coming year, we'd like to ask that the amount of money we have left in our scholarship fund be used and spread across the board to help bring the cost down for this year because we realize that is quite a jump. and also to perhaps not charge the equipment deposit, and that way we could charge $135 rather than the true cost of $150 per player.
I guess my question is, so who is actually running the football association?
We are. Oh, the association?
I mean,
They are
who is
forming.
running the football program in 2015?
Well, July 1, our program starts, and this fall, we are operating this program.
Okay, so where did the directives come from that you needed to bring the price up so that the program would pay for itself? I mean,
That's all programs we've asked every department. In Park and Rec, we've talked many years about football, but primarily last year during the budget, y'all talked a lot about football and having it pay for itself.
And there was also discussion turned our way that either charge what it costs or there will be no program. And so what has happened is this football association is working, you saw some of them here tonight, they're working to form an association as they're getting their 501c3 together, getting their articles of incorporation, forming their working body. They are shadowing us through this whole year from equipment inventory, reconditioning, budgeting. They're working with us in hosting our first camp of the summer, coach training. They've been meeting regularly. They're working real hard to try to learn what it takes to operate a successful and very expensive sport.
so I guess where I am is that I've seen us having to raise the fees over the last 8 years, but there's never been such a drastic increase
That's
of any sport. And I personally don't think that it's justified because we would have not done that for any of the other sports. And, you know, to say everybody's got to start paying their way when the price has been $100 and now it's $150 is a big jump.
We're willing to do whatever the board pleases.
They also have the monies, as Kelly said, from the football scholarships that they'd like to use this year, since this is the last year that Spalding County will hopefully put on this program. And there's enough funding in there, Kelly, tell me if I'm right, to bring it down to 135.
That's correct.
And that is the only scholarshiped program that we offer. So
As a county department, that's correct.
technically, it'd be 135, not 150.
But next year,
The association,
the association will have it, and then they will have a deposit for the equipment, and there won't be a $5,000 scholarship, so it'll be $170.
And they have
To take
time
the ball.
now to start, once they have their nonprofit status, they can start raising funds. They can start doing fundraisers to try to build their scholarship and their supporters.
And how will we be able to track that? Just wondering, how will we know that?
The associations are required to turn in a budget to us and an accounting of their actions during the whole season. It's we were doing due diligence with the directives that we were given, and these are what the figures look like. So whatever the board decides, I'll be happy to charge less, to be honest.
I guess I'm looking at it and, you didn't budget anything for your summer camp for this year, right? Did you budget for employees in your 2014
I
budget?
did submit, yes ma'am.
but it wasn't approved.
It was not approved.
Okay.
Oh, for your 2014 budget or your 2015?
2015.
For the 2015, it was in the 2014.
So, I mean, basically I'm saying you don't have the expense, you'll still have the expense of running the program, you're saying for next year, for the 2015 budget.
For
Park and
football,
Rec will.
you're talking about football.
Football.
We will operate the fall of the annual year of 2014, which is the fiscal year of 2015. And then what will happen is we'll operate the program. At the end of the program, the funds that we've put in budget for will go to recertify helmets, replace torn pants, replace jerseys as needed, recondition, replace. That's what all of that money that you approved this evening earlier will go towards bringing all the equipment up to par so that they have a season to start with like we always do.
Okay, so when the association takes over, why would we maintain the equipment?
We won't after their season. They will start their season with equipment that's ready to play with, that is safe and up to par.
That's the last thing we'll do is, in fiscal year 15, we'll turn everything over to them just like we would as if we were running the program, but from that point forward, it's theirs. So at the end of
That's
next
correct.
season, they will then have to refurbish and
Replace,
and
recertify.
so that they don't have a big capital cost to begin with, but also we're trying, the whole idea was to let them have a reasonable chance at succeeding in the program. And if you give them old equipment and they've got to spend 50 grand up
Right.
front, it just doesn't.
Right, and what they will do is when they, if their association forms and it's ready to take over for next year, they will evaluate their budget, and they will have to budget for their season, taking into consideration all the things that we're sharing with them as they shadow with us, taking in consideration that once the season is over, they've got to make sure they recoup all the equipment, replace it, repair it, all of those things at the end of their season.
So the money that is left over in the football scholarship fund, how is that being used? How is that used this year, in this year's budget? I mean, was any of that used?
We have always used at least half of the scholarship funds that we have available, so that we would always have half to use again the next year. That way we always knew we had something to give back in scholarship, at least 80 children, okay? But we have enough this year. If we're proposing not to operate the program next year, let's use that money to help bring that cost down.
So the 80 children that we were providing scholarship money for, we were providing that, what, based on family income?
It was based on a Medicaid card or a medical assistance.
So
Peach Care,
their
Medicaid.
fee was how much?
$100, and then we would do half scholarships. We never did whole scholarships. We
So
found children
technically-
quit if they had a free ride to play.
So the money that's used for scholarship this year won't be able to help kids who,
We would like to use for this fall season to help bring the cost down. And then it would be up to the association, if they form, it'll be up to the association to prepare for a scholarship fund or a way to keep the cost down the next season, as the other associations do.
how many kids usually play football?
You're talking about 300 in tackle.
Okay, so 25% of those kids were on scholarship. So those 25 kids that couldn't pay $100 are not going to be able to pay $135.
I agree. We were doing what we were asked to do. If y'all would like to reconsider.
Yeah, I think we need to. Everybody's screaming out, it's all about the kids, it's all about the kids. We already know they can't afford to pay that kind of money. That was all the questions I had, Mr. Chairman.
It is a little concerning, but I'm wondering, what kind of, I know I've mentioned the tracking before, but if we could just, how can we stay on top of this to make sure that this program doesn't get out of whack next year now? I mean, I know that we're budgeting and doing that, but how can we truly say, I hate for anything to happen where it would? I mean, that would be awful. But what can we do in the interim, I wonder, just to make sure that that doesn't happen?
You're talking about the forming association?
Yes.
What we do is, there is a youth association agreement, and there's many things, multiple things that they have to provide the county. We keep that record in our office. They're required to have a 501c3, coach's background, concussion certification, coach certification, a preseason budget, an inventory, insurance, multiple things. And they're not permitted to start their season until all that's done, as with all associations.
Mr. Ray?
Does the Park and Rec Advisory Board follow through to ensure that these items are being ticked off, clicked off, completed
The
as
staff,
time goes through?
the staff does that.
This fee schedule was recommended by the Park and Rec Advisory.
Well, I think it's too high, I can tell you that much.
And it was
I know the
yeah.
people you agree with. I mean, it used to be 500 kids playing football in Spalding County, and the prices just keep going up and just cut down on the numbers of them. I know this for a fact, so I mean.
And that directive, it was approved by the Park and Rec Advisory Committee because of the directive that Kelly gave them that supposedly we gave you, that it needed to pay for itself. So that is why it was approved, because they had no other choice but to approve it based on the criteria that was given them, that was given Kelly. So.
It was not unanimous,
Yeah.
but it did pass.
You know, I don't think that, I mean, I have some concerns about the prices going up as it is. But I have some real concerns when probably the 80 kids who would have normally played will be sitting out. And I know that in some families, if there's more than one kid, you know, there was some break for them too, but that's a lot of children to be kicked out of the program because there won't be funding so that we can drop the price for everybody else, which is still gonna be $35 higher than it was.
I mean, we can make a motion to do whatever we want to do. It's up to the five of us right here, so, I mean, that's all we need to do, Commissioner Ray.
I sympathize with the number of children this may affect. I look at the budget requirements that we have to face as a Spalding County government, the priorities that we have to facilitate, and things that we're mandated to facilitate with the budget that we have. But when I sit down and think about public safety, law enforcement, fire safety, and things of that nature, for us to sit here and predict how many children may or how many children may not be able to engage in a recreational sport, football, I have to sit back and say, my priorities are with the mandated public safety items. And yes, I regret that it is affecting the youth of our community, but we cannot continue as a Spalding County government or any government in this day to provide services we cannot afford. We have, and it goes along with an old saying that we cannot provide all the services needed. However, all the services we can provide will be greatly accepted. And it's a hard line, and I hate it. You know, I hate that the kids are affected and the possible effects there. But I've got to take the priorities of mandated public safety versus athletic sports. And I understand, but it's a hard line. And we've got to look at the bottom line budget. We spent 2 days in here going over the budget and the possible effects. And last year, we had a hard time adjusting. And that's where the directive came. If it doesn't pay for itself, it shouldn't be going on.
I want to correct something. We do have a motion and a second for approval on the floor, so.
But that's all I have. I'll call for a question.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Ray, and a second by Commissioner Flowers, table for approval. All those in favor, please raise your hand. 2, those opposed, 3.
We need to take some action tonight for them to
We
go
really
ahead.
do, because
So then when we have an alternative motion?
Let me ask you something. Can we go back and look to see? I mean, you got the $5,000.
Right.
We don't need to do away with deposit for equipment. I'm telling you that now. I know how much, I mean, we spent months and a half trying to get equipment back. You know, the more money they put up for the equipment, the more likely they are to bring it back. Don't want to do away with that.
Okay.
I'd just like to see what would be the minimum we could charge with the equipment charged to it. And you take the $15 off of the thing to start with. And it's the last year we're gonna operate it. You know, are we gonna have to pay for security when they have football up there, when the association runs?
We actually include that in our budget.
Okay,
To make
so
sure
that is-
the parks
that is
have
covered.
security.
Okay.
Now, last year we charged $100 plus the $25 equipment
Right.
deposit. So they paid $125 at registration to play. And then those 80, about half scholarship minus the deposit. So they paid 50 plus the deposit.
They did pay the deposit.
Yes, everyone paid the deposit.
and it worked very well.
We recouped every piece of equipment except one who moved, we have no idea where.
Well, that's a good percentage.
It was a great,
So you're saying $2,500 would allow basically that 25% of those kids to still play, to help offset their cost?
It'll be more than that, because you're
No,
gonna spend it
because-
all.
Yeah, because if the fee is 135,
135 is what we were proposing.
The old fee was
With-
125.
That's correct, with the deposit.
So that's really a $10 increase over last year.
Actually, we're going from $100 to $135,
But you
But we were not
included,
plus the deposit if
Okay.
you're wanting to charge the deposit.
Okay.
We were not planning on